I found the devil.
The devil?
I found him.
Really? Is this him?
No.
In this wheelchair?
No. He's over here in this bucket. I kid you not. There he is. Mr. Sin!
Oh my
Not
goodness.
bothering us anymore.
And I remember her saying, okay, you're going to play Mr. Sin today. And she hands me this purple puppet with a nasty mustache. Pop little puppet up, and literally on cue, 80 kids out there all, boo, no, yuck, I hate that guy. I was like, man, these guys are trained on cue. Like, I don't know if they got candy for doing that or what. But
Oh, man. They just want to come down on someone.
Theological teaching. Deep theological teaching.
Well,
All right, welcome to Together We Build. My name is Chris. I'll be hosting this episode, and I'm here with Prudence O'Hare.
Hello.
And Jan Schaffner.
Hello.
And Jan Schaffner has been on 2 other episodes. And if you have not seen those, you need to go check them out. We'll put the links in there. They are absolutely fantastic. So you definitely want to check those out. I have a question for you guys. Because I'm not supposed to ask how you're doing. So I'm not going to ask how you're doing. I'm going to ask you, what is your opinion on garden gnomes? Prudence, we'll start with you. How do you feel about garden gnomes?
I don't have any.
You don't? Jan's like, I wasn't prepped for the garden gnome question at all.
I'm not sure what that is.
Yes.
You need to tell me
They're
what that
little,
is.
little
Oh, those
ceramic garden
yes,
gnome
yes,
statues.
Yes.
How do you feel about those guys?
Right. Well, because of my ministry and who I am, they kind of a little bit bother me. Because I came from a Swedish heritage, and they did those little gnome things over there, you know, like in Sweden, Norway, and all the Scandinavian countries.
Is that where they're
from? And they were
Okay.
kind of like little fairy creatures, you know, that were supposed to be posted to bring good luck.
Got
That's
it.
kind of where they came from.
Got it.
Now that
Okay.
you're filling me in on,
Yes.
yeah. So
you're no on gnomes.
I'm no.
No on
I'm a
gnomes.
no on gnomes. Mhm.
And Prudence, you're still.
Well, I don't have any garden gnomes, so I don't know.
Now that question, actually, the little trivia behind that question is that's one of the hiring questions that they do at Trader Joe's. So I just looking for interesting questions.
So what do they want from you?
I'm not sure what they're going for, but it's good to know. In case you're ever trying to get a job at Trader Joe's, now you know what to be prepared for. So this means we need to step right into our trivia, because that's how we start all of these episodes off, is with a little bit of trivia.
We like to lighten the mood and then immediately go straight into something serious.
Yes. It's a way of kind of helping people, get their neurological pathways jostled, which is always good. So the question really is, how many bricks are in the Empire State Building? Like, how many bricks are used to make the Empire State Building?
How is this a question? And
I know you've got the answer in there, Prudence.
no, I don't. Okay, so it's got to be in millions, right? Can you at least give us that much?
It is in the millions.
Okay, millions. I'm going to say 165 million.
165 million. Jan, what do you think?
And the first thought that came to me was 100 million.
100 million.
And I'm not sure why.
Well, it's 10 million.
Oh.
So both of you guys were correct.
jumped the gun on that
bricks
one.
were exactly 1/10 the size of a normal
Only 10
brick.
million, that's
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't
they're
checked the
bigger than I
source of
thought.
these trivia questions.
Well, we may have to fly over there and count them just to see that you're correct in your number.
I may have asked this one in a past episode, but I'm not sure. And we'll see if you guys get it. According to Russian law, so this is in Russia, Russian law, a homeless person must be where after 10 p.m.?
I feel like you have asked this
I
question
think I
before.
have actually.
Well, can we have a different question then?
No, you have to answer this one. You should have learned the first
They
time.
have to be in their tent.
In their tent. I think that's what you said last time. Haley, what do you think? According to Russian law, where is a homeless person? Where must they be after 10? So Haley says at home. Jan?
I was going to say at home.
Yes.
But if they're
Yes.
homeless, then they maybe don't have a home, right?
That's correct. That's correct. You are both correct. The law states that a homeless person must be in their home after 10, which obviously doesn't make any sense if they're homeless, which is why this is funny.
That's right.
Okay, last one. Last one. I think I asked this one too, but we're going to do it again, even if I have. On Sunday in Columbus, Ohio, what is it illegal to sell? On Sunday in Columbus, Ohio, it is illegal to sell what? This is one of those ones where if you don't know it, guessing is kind of crazy, but that's what makes it funny. Roach spray, excellent guess. Haley, what do you think? Illegal to sell. Illegal to sell. Jan knows.
Well,
she actually knows the answer.
Obviously wouldn't be alcohol or cigarettes or something because that's too...
That makes too much sense.
That
makes too much sense.
Yeah.
You're correct. It's not anything like that makes sense.
Okay. So
Well,
it would be something like roach spray, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Roach spray. So you both say roach spray. You both are 100% correct. It is cornflakes.
cornflakes?
Yeah, cornflakes.
Oh, that's close
Why
to the
would
same
that-
thing.
That's
Okay.
almost the same as roach
Isn't it?
spray.
That's really close. Really close. Great.
So
Goodness,
yeah.
less we did
So
last
yep. I'm still not 100% sure why we do this trivia, but I do feel like it's an important part of getting things going. I'm not sure why. But in this case, cornflakes is a breakfast cereal, and your book is about fasting, so I'm assuming cornflakes are out when
Pretty
you're in a
much.
fasting period.
Probably.
All right.
With my style of fasting.
Let's transition into this now. Jan, you were on 2 other episodes where we talked specifically about deliverance and some other books that you wrote, which are amazing. Again, I mentioned that just a minute ago, but if you have not seen those episodes, you need to go check it out. So go check those episodes out. We'll put the links in the show notes and stuff so you can see those. They're really good, super powerful episodes. But for all of those people that haven't seen those 2 episodes, before we launch into this next book that you've written, why don't you kind of lay a little bit of a foundation for us, high level, what led you to kind of your life's journey to those books and then now this one. And then I'd love to jump into this because I think this is a very important topic. And this episode right now, this is episode 26, which is the last episode of season 1 of Together We Build. So this will be airing like in the first couple of weeks of January of 2023. So it's perfect
and
timing.
We're
Perfect timing.
considering in the second season of wearing clown costumes in our
Yes,
episodes.
it's on the chopping block.
Jan's like, are
as
you
it were.
serious?
Yes, clown costumes.
I'm glad I'm on the last one because I'll not be back.
Lightening it up. That was good. That was good. Having fun. Yeah.
Keep your microphone close
Oh.
to you so
Okay,
we
close
can
to
hear
my
you.
mouth.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Normally, Prudence is the one that's not doing that well.
True.
Okay. So I will.
So
I
this
will
is
do that.
helping remind me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
So just a little bit about the, recap of what we did last time.
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be
So
amazing.
yes, my whole journey has been over these, I'm 72, so I'm not afraid to say that, process with God and just a lot of just journey with God and trusting Him throughout my life. When I got saved when I was 20, and He allowed me to have a lot of different experiences that are, on the first 2 interviews, I talk a lot about that in my testimony. But what really has been the kind of the guiding light for me all the way through is that God is interested in process. And that's kind of I would say one of my core messages is processing with God, that it's partnering with God and allowing just the all of the everything about life that happens to you is a teaching, learning moment, equipping time. So I feel like that's been my life, my story. A lot of that. One of the quotes that I just heard that I thought was so good is confidence in the promise without commitment to the process is not dependence on God, it's delusion.
Oh, wow.
Say that one more time.
Say that
Okay.
again.
Yeah,
Say it
yeah.
again.
So if I can, let's see. So it's commitment to the promise, because God gave me so many promises early on,
Right.
a lot of them. And I was, going through life, there was a lot of, good, bad, and ugly things that happened. But what I was always coming back to was that process with God was so important and really everything. And so I knew that, somehow I knew that early on, which just kept me going forward, just kept me trusting, kept me continuing my journey with Him and process with Him. But so the confidence in the promise without commitment to the process is not dependence on God, it's delusion.
Man, that is so good. So I feel like the underlying or the overarching message there is that you have to actually do.
Yes.
You have to do what He tells you. He's not going to do it for you.
You have to be partnering with Him, I believe. It's a partnership with God. It's a walking with Him. It's a trust walk with God and allowing Him to lead you, guide you, you know. And when things don't work out the way that you had hoped they would, it's still a matter of trust and knowing there's something huge that He's been teaching you in that process.
Wow, that's
So
good.
I just feel like process probably just capsulizes my life. It's been a process and a journey with God. Yes. So He all the way through has always had this. I've always had a passion about healing and wholeness and just becoming the very best version of myself that I could be. And I always knew that it had to do with inner healing. I knew that it had to do with being totally connected with Him in the Spirit, allowing my spirit to be in alignment with His Spirit, and then allowing Him to do the work on my soul, which is my mind, will, and emotions. Because all the way through, I just had so many ungodly beliefs and so many lie-based, ways that I operated, and just so much stuff. And so He was doing that work in me all the way through. So I knew that was part of the process and it was so important. But very few people that I knew really could see that and agree with that, and were kind of a little bit offended by that. And especially in the church, it seemed like people were not very open to that. No, we just need to be in the Word, and we just need to pray, and we just need, So I was always way, way more intentional than most of the people that I knew, and that's just always kind of been me. So the Lord never let me get away from that message at all, really. He always kept that in the forefront and always brought me back to it was for me to be whole and healed and to be the very best that I could be, but it was also for other people. So that's been, I believe, a lot of my journey is just that process of becoming and walking it out with God. So part of my story is that I had my own, I was probably one of the biggest things was I was about 40, sometimes 50 pounds overweight. So that was like carrying around this big sack of potatoes on my back,
Right.
Always a heavy weight. And it kind of kept me from running my race the way I knew God wanted me to run it, So I would always go back to Hebrews 12, which said, get rid of all that stuff that's hindering you. Get rid of those heavy weights that you're trying to carry around. Get rid of the obstacles, And so I just would always go back to that, yep, that's that. I've got to, Lord, I need to do that. So, but what would happen is I tried so many different diet plans. I can't even tell you how many diet plans I tried, and I always failed at them. I was good at being disciplined for a short period of time, And then when it got hard, or there was some kind of an event or something that caused me to go off of it, it was just too hard to get back on. So I'm just the classic scenario of yo-yo dieting. That's what I did for probably like 50 years. So that's a really big part of my story too, because I was carrying around a lot of extra I would say baggage and weight, but also baggage in my emotions. And so the Lord just kept working with me on that, and I kept getting more free, I would say, in my soul. But by the time I retired, which was in 2008, I was I would say 40 to 45 pounds overweight. And so I knew the Lord was telling me, this is going to be your next phase of your life, is to get healed and whole in your body. Because He'd been working on my spirit and my soul for a long time. So my body was kind of the next phase. So that's the journey that I've been on since that point. I went after a really went through a naturopath. I went through all of the everything they could do to help me get healed in my body, and I really followed it. I think I did a really good job following it, but it didn't really do the job. It wasn't really what I needed.
Yeah.
So I just continued to battle that until I got, so then we're going to fast forward up to kind of the beginning of my book and what was happening as the Lord was giving me this message that's in the book. And that was that I was pretty unhealthy. I was unhealthy, and my message was about wholeness and healing. So it wasn't very congruent. It wasn't really. It was, you can say you believe it, but if you're not actually living it and doing it, you're not really a living testimony, I don't think. So I just said, Lord, I just want to be that. I want to be the living testimony that you called me to be. So help me do that, So I was kind of crying out to God. Well, about at that time, just as COVID was starting to hit the world, Denny was, and I think I said this in my last interview, but he was getting the diagnosis that he had terminal cancer. And so I just knew that was my catalyst. That was my big catalyst. My husband had cancer. I wasn't healthy. I was overweight. And I had this big message that I knew that God had for me to give and to live and be. And so I just said, okay, Lord, help me really understand what you want me to do here, and I'll be completely obedient to whatever that is. And He started talking to me about fasting. I want you to fast. So the very first response I had was pretty negative, because I had never been able to fast. I didn't believe I could fast. So I had a lie about fasting and that I really can't do it. And I didn't really want to do it. So there was a lot of conflict going on. But He said, if you will turn this over to me and allow me to do this work in you, this will change your life. This will change your life. So I, at that point, as we were all quarantined in our homes, I said, yes, Lord, I will do this. I will do this no matter what it costs me, no matter what it takes, no matter what, I will do this. So I started studying fasting in the Word and all the benefits of fasting. Of course, there's tons of them. I started listening to intermittent fasting videos, just a lot of them online, because I just felt like intermittent fasting was probably the direction that I needed to go. I already kind of had that idea. And as I studied it and I really researched it, I was amazed at how much healing comes from it. So as I studied it, I began to find out that autophagy happens at this when you've fasted for 16 hours. Your body starts going after diseased cells and stored fat. So your body starts actually healing when it has a break. So when I got that understanding, I'm like, why didn't I know this before? Why didn't anybody really tell me this before? Because the medical community will not tell you that. When you go to them, they're not going to tell you that.
Right. So the book is about your journey, and the book is on specifically with fasting, with how it's related to your journey and so forth, right? So I want to dig into that in just a second. But before we do that, I want to have a little bit of a high level definition so people understand when we say fasting, what does that mean? When we say intermittent fasting, what does that mean? But before we do that, so I want to do the book, and then but before we do that, I want to do some definitions so people know. But before we do that, you had said something in the pre-show that I think was really important about how, your first two books were kind of took this approach. I think you said mind and soul, or soul and spirit, or something like that, and then now this book is like adding the body component. Because some people might go, well, that seems like a fasting book, seems like a divergence from what Jan was talking about before, but really it's not. So take just a moment and kind of tie the two together with your first two books and kind of your journey. Okay, so my first two books were Stand Firm to Be Free, which was really on my spirit, and it was for those that didn't see the first interview, I just got a download from God. I was sitting in a Johnny Enlow conference, and he said, he was going through all of the different ways that you can be connected to one of the 7 mountains. And he came to the business mountain, and I started manifesting a little bit. And so what the Lord said to me right then was, I want you to write the book that I've called you to write, which was kind of a surprise. And like, then all of a sudden I had all the flashbacks of all the prophetic words I'd had about it. So I'm like, okay, I will. So I started writing right away. My first book was really about coming into alignment in your spirit with God. Right. So I would say was a spirit alignment book, really. And so that was my first book. And then as I was getting ready to hit send to send it to the publisher, he said, get ready for volume 2. So you thought, wait, I'm done.
I was like, wait a minute. So then I knew, okay, Lord, you've got me on this whole new thing, and I need to just be obedient and do what you're telling me to do. So the second book was really on, I would say, on this mind, will, and emotions. The first book was too, a little bit, but I would say the second book is going to bring a lot of components together of that. So it was just getting aligned in your soul, So that was a bigger book, and it was a lot of my ministry that I did for like almost 10 years of helping a lot of people. So it was a book that's really goes deep into how to get free. And one of my biggest, I would say my biggest core message is how to stay free.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
It's not just
that's
how
so
to
good.
get free, but how do you maintain it? How do you sustain it? That's my biggest. Still always going to come back to that. How do you do that well? Right.
That's right.
So the whole thing, though, is the foundation to becoming everything that God's called you to be, which is I would say that your identity and your destiny have to be are going to come out of your alignment, spirit, soul, and body. That's my belief after doing a lot of ministry with a lot of people, hundreds and hundreds of people. That's what I've seen, that they can't really step into their identity or their destiny until they get their spirit aligned first, That's first, but secondly, getting their soul aligned.
Yeah, come on.
And so I believe that that's a huge, I just having seen how the body of Christ has operated over the last 50 years, I see that that's a huge need. And it's I would say my core message that God's just not letting me get off of that at all.
Yeah.
That that getting aligned spirit, soul, body is huge. But my story is that I would say I was getting aligned pretty well spiritually and emotionally in my soul.
Right.
But my body was still out of alignment.
Right.
And so I'm not sure that you can really run your race and take the high calling and the prize if your body's out of alignment.
Right.
I've just seen way too many people be taken out by some kind of disease, some kind of infirmity, something that's keeping them from going after it. So.
Right. So this third book is kind of bringing in the body component, and you're telling through the book your story and how you found success in it after something that I think you said you had worked on this and struggled with this for 50 years. So you weren't new to dealing with the body component, right? Oh,
no. And so that's a really interesting point, because I believe that's a lot of people's story, is that you can sit in church for 50 years and be dying, have all kinds of infirmities, sickness, diseases, and you might get some healing. You might have somebody come and pray for you, and you might have a headache go away, or you may even have cancer go away. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen. It does happen.
Right.
But I'm saying I believe that God is asking us to learn how to partner with Him to get into a place of health and wholeness so that we don't even get the diseases.
Right.
And that's what I really believe that. I believe it's it's a preemptive strike.
And it ties right back to what you said earlier about remaining free, remaining healed.
Yeah, it ties into the bigger concept of remaining free, stepping into your wholeness and healing, and then keeping it. And so there has to be some work done ahead, I would say. In order to do that, I don't believe it. I haven't seen it play out that way. I think there's occasionally you see this huge miracle where maybe they didn't do a whole lot of anything. They just showed up and they got healed. And I'm saying that can happen. But I believe that I have seen more often than not that things come back, and they can get cancer back, you know.
That's right.
Things can happen where you get taken out if you don't do the partnering with God part of it.
Right. That's right.
So I cannot get away from it. And I know that's not always going to be popular because it means responsibility. It means that you're going to walk daily with God and hear Him and be obedient and do what He's telling you to do.
Yeah.
And if it's hard, He's going to give you the grace and the strength to do it, and you're going to have a really good outcome. But I just don't know I don't know how often that's taught, and so
well, that's definitely biblically sound. Like, go and sin no more, neither do I condemn you, go and sin. Like this, here's your healing.
Yeah.
Now walk in that is completely biblical.
Yeah.
It's unpopular, especially with Western culture, because it means you got to do something. But it is definitely biblical.
Right.
It's biblical, and it's like my journey. I'm just going back to this is what God has told me and shown me, and then also helped. He's allowed me to help other people get free, and then to help them stay free. So that's kind of the direction I'm going right now, is to help people step into their wholeness, spirit, soul, and body, and then how do they keep it? How do they remain in that? How do they not only remain, but how do they even help other people?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Okay. So the book is let's see the book. What's the book called?
it's called Fast Forward into Freedom.
Fast Forward into
Yeah.
Freedom.
Yeah.
And what you alluded to and what you kind of loosely talked about was what the Lord showed you and what you worked through was fasting. Now, that could just bring a lot of things to a lot of people's minds. So let's get some definitions out there. Help us. What is fasting?
Okay.
You also mentioned intermittent fasting. What is intermittent fasting?
Right.
And let's break apart some of the misconceptions that people have too.
Okay. Yeah. So fasting is just not eating food.
Yeah.
So that's not real popular. So, but not eating food is actually okay. So I'm going to explain it in the way that I'm doing it right now that hopefully will make sense. But so I didn't ever do very well not eating food for like several days at a time. I was just miserable, and I think most people probably are. They go through a lot of withdrawals from sugar. They go through who knows what, a lot of stuff, and sometimes it's just miserable. So for me, when I was whenever I tried fasting, which I did, I would fail at it. I would just like end up eating by the end of the day and just say, I can't do this. I just know I can't do this. I'm not called to do this, you know. And so I had that belief, and it was really pretty much of a lie, but I did believe it pretty strongly. Plus, the fasting and going without food I was brought up to believe that was really bad, very dangerous for you, and the worst thing you could do for yourself.
Yeah, very dangerous. Very
which
dangerous.
is not biblical. That's not biblical.
Or medically accurate.
It's not medically accurate, nor is it biblically accurate. So that was a big lie, but I learned that growing up in my home. And so anyway, when the Lord told me that He wanted me to fast, when I did the research on intermittent fasting, intermittent is just eating for a period of the day and then fasting the rest of the day.
Right.
So
Which everyone does this, whether they realize it or not, every single night. They go to bed, they fast for a period of time, and then they get up in the morning and they break fast with breakfast, which
That's
could
right.
be any meal of the day is your breakfast, right?
That's
Is it
right.
The meal you're breaking fast.
So
you're talking about being purposeful about that space, not just when you're hungry in the morning.
Exactly. So, but really it has to do with your body clock and where will it be the easiest for you to do that, you know? So like for me, I do mine from 6, I started out from 6 to 2. So I did my 8 hours of eating from 6 to 2, and then I fasted from 2 till 6 in the morning. And that was, in the beginning, was kind of hard because I was really, really hungry, you know. For the first like week or so, your body's been trained to eat at a certain time, so it's going to say, I want you to feed me now, and it will throw a fit. It will throw a fit. So it's going to be really convincing to go get something to eat because you feel like you're dying, kind of, you know. It's just the craziest thing, but it's like so strong, you know. So I knew that going in. I'd listened to all the teaching on it that you're going to be hungry when you're used to eating. You will. So you need to have a plan, so that's what I did. I drank actually bone broth, which is the perfect intermittent fasting thing. So I'm not going to highly recommend it, but in the beginning I did do that. So to kind of get me through the first 3 or 4 days, I did do that. So also I found that apple cider vinegar in water really takes away the hunger. So if you have 16 ounces of water with 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, it'll just take away the hunger for probably a couple hours, at least it did for me.
Got it.
Also lemon juice in water will take away the hunger. And I'm not totally sure how all of it works, but it does really work with most people. Plus, it starts cleansing you more, too. So you're getting a little bit of nutrition in there, cleansing in there, plus it's taken away the hunger. So I did that for the first week or so, yeah.
So let's dig into this a little bit so we can understand. So we talk about intermittent fasting the way you're talking about it to give some context, and then tell me if this isn't true. You're saying I'm going to purposely close my window of eating so that there's more fasting time, so that my body has an opportunity to do things that it doesn't have the opportunity to do if it's constantly taking and converting food into energy. So that converting food into energy actually takes a tremendous amount of effort for your body to do that.
Yes.
So when you're eating regularly, often, like every 6 hours or 8 hours or whatever, just often, your body's always working. It's got to do something with that food.
Yeah.
So you're saying you are purposefully designing a window in which you are not eating and which you are eating, so your body has the freedom to do its stuff in the off hours. So for you, you started eating at 6 a.m, you stopped eating at 2 p.m, so there was no eating from 2 p.m. all the way till the next 6 a.m. So now your body has that period to do. Now you mentioned a term that happens at 16 hours.
Right, it's called autophagy, and anyone can look that up and do research on it, and it was actually a Nobel Prize winning by someone in, I think it was either somewhere over in the Scandinavia area, that they came up with this autophagy, which actually means that after 16 to 8, they said 16 to 18, but at 16 it starts, where your body goes after diseased cells, because during your normal digestion process of eating three meals a day, which is what we've all been trained to do, your body doesn't get a chance to really rest, except at night, which is usually going to be like if you snack before you go to bed. Let's say you're eating all the way up till 9 o'clock, and then you're getting up at 6, and you're not really giving your body enough time to get restored and healed in that amount of time. So what the autophagy does is it actually starts restoring and healing everything that's out of alignment in your body. So that was a huge learning curve for me that I didn't know. And I had 3 separate issues that were ongoing, had been for a long time. One of them was plantar fasciitis, which had come on, I think I'd had it for 7 or 8 months or something like that. So my feet really hurt. It was hard to walk. It was crazy. And this had all just come on just before I went into this whole thing with the Lord and fasting. So I'd already had plantar fasciitis. I had high blood pressure. I had high blood sugar. And I had inflammation in my body, in my weak areas of my body. So I had pain, I had all those things going on, and I knew that I needed to be healed. And I wasn't being healed by just praying to be healed. And I'd had a lot of people pray for me, and it wasn't that I didn't have faith. I had faith, but it wasn't working. And so the Lord was saying, I want you I've got a message that I'm birthing in you, and so this is part of the process that I'm going to show you how to do this and to help other people.
And the one of the reasons I'm hearing is so hard to step into that is you're told and taught that, well, your body needs the food to do the healing. You got to give it the food so it has the energy to do the healing.
Yeah, that's what we've heard, and actually it's the opposite. So anybody that believes that, just go do some really do some research about it. But I know now that what I found to be true is that is really coming from. It's not the right information, because your body's working so hard. I heard that for years, and that's why it didn't work for me at all. Was eat as many meals as you can a day. And eat them frequently, and stay within a calorie limit, but just keep eating all day. That's the best thing for you. It's going to heal you. Well, that absolutely didn't heal me, and I don't know of anybody that it has healed. And so I'd love to know any kind of evidence that does work, because I don't believe that it does. So I believe it always goes back to, what does God say? And He made fasting as a true His way to restore your body, to heal your body. Because your body, it's like when you're sick, really, really sick, you're not hungry because of that reason, because it's a God way of protecting you.
Yeah,
and
your
to
body's
heal
like
you.
going into its natural
Your
healing
body's
mode.
going into natural healing, and so it doesn't want to eat because your body knows that it's going to have to work too hard, and it's not going to be able to help you heal. I know when I was in the 6th grade, and I almost died from rheumatic fever. So I don't even know how I got it, but I did, and I had it I was in bed for 4 months, and I literally had 0 appetite during that time. I had no appetite. I couldn't. All of my favorite foods just made me sick to my stomach. I mean, I couldn't. I really couldn't. I could eat very, very little, and I did lose a lot of weight. I wasn't really heavy or anything, but it was just. I did get healed, but I believe a lot of it was because my body naturally healed because I wasn't eating for one thing, but also I had prayer, but I just believe there's a combination of all of this, of really doing it God's way according to His Word, which is not going to really always fit the way of the culture or the popular way or the way of the flesh or what feels good or what's easy, Mm-hmm. So anyway, So I'm launching off on my intermittent fasting after the first week or so. My pain in my feet went away. It went away. And my pain in my eye, which was always in a flare-up stage of some kind, all the pain started just going away. My blood pressure went down a full 10 points that first week of fasting. Intermittent fasting. I was still eating 8 hours a day though. I was still eating, but I was fasting way more than I had ever done. So those 16 hours, my body was starting to heal and giving me all the evidence that it was healing. So my blood pressure went down way below normal. I don't know if my blood sugar wasn't tested.
Way below where it was too high. Not below where it should be.
Well, actually, what happened is I was able to keep it. It would shoot up even on my atenolol when I was under stress. It would shoot way up.
Oh, right.
But
right.
my normal blood pressure was higher than it should have been, but it wasn't too high for them to really be concerned about. So what I found was when I went on this, it went below even what normal is considered normal. So I was able to just see the results quickly.
So that means you were able to get off that medication then?
I was able to cut it in half.
Wow.
And then I've been able to I'm really right now, I'm getting very close to just completely getting off because you have to be careful.
Right, you can't just,
do it cold turkey. So I've kind of phased it, So my blood pressure is almost a little bit too low. So she said, okay, we'll take you off the last little I'm just doing this little teeny bit. And she goes, okay, So the medical community isn't always 100% behind anything that you do naturally. That's not really their protocol. Right. So they really question it, and they don't really love it. I don't think they're going to support it 100% usually.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's what I found. But I had a doctor that she said, this is amazing what's happening to you, and I'm telling everybody to, not on script, but to go check it out and watch some YouTubes about it and see if it works for you. She was even telling people that. She said, because this is pretty dramatic what's happening to you. So my doctor she actually was sold on it by seeing the results. So that was pretty interesting.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but I would say so there's a lot of different options though. I would say the most popular option for people is what my people in my family that are doing it are doing. They're skipping breakfast, so they start eating at lunch so that they can have lunch with people. I think that's for business people or people that are social or used to eating with their family. That's a really good option because you can start eating at 12. You can have a normal dinner, and then you can get your 8 hours in, and then you can sleep through the night, and then a lot of people say, I can get up and have a cup of coffee and a couple of big glasses of lemon water or something and be fine and not be that hungry. After the first few days, you have to kind of go through a couple of days of transition on that. But everybody that I'm working with and my friends are getting healed even in their 70s.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I've had a couple of people have amazing things happen just in the last couple of months. And I want to make sure I get that really documented and everything, but it's just quite amazing to watch. So, and everyone that I know of that's tried it has had a really good measure of success. It's just a matter of making it a lifestyle change, I believe. So that was kind of what this book was about, was how do you really, my journey was pretty classic probably of how, what I learned and how I did it, how I got to the place where I've been able to sustain it for 2 years. And to just right after Christmas, I'm down to the lowest weight that I've been since 1982.
Wow. So no more yo-yo, you just flat out yo.
Yeah, yo. Yo, yeah. So the yo-yo thing's over. So, I mean, it's like I've had to, I've gained a few pounds here and there and then had to lose it, but it comes off so fast and it's just really easy to get back. So, what I would say that most people are doing that 8-hour pattern. There's some other variations which are really going to get a little bit more drastic, I would say. So that's one of the ones that I've tried is the 4 hours of eating, which is they call it OMAD, which is like 1 meal a day. It's actually 1.5 meals a day, I would say. So that's what I've been doing for been able to lose another 5 to 7 pounds in the last month by doing that. So it's just having a really balanced meal that has all of the very highest nutrition you can get. And then I get up and I have that. And then I have about probably 9 o'clock, I have my second, kind of more like a snack, but I get in all my food before 10. So between 6 and 10, I'm eating all my food for the day. So then after 10, I'm just drinking lemon juice, drinking apple cider vinegar. One of the things, though, that I just learned that has really helped me is that you can have heavy cream in your coffee, and it doesn't break your autophagy, that was interesting. So I've been doing that, and then also I kind of varied it off a little bit by having, instead of coffee, I use cocoa. So I'm mixing like 2 tablespoons, 2 tablespoons of cocoa mixed with keto sugar, and then you mix like 1/4 cup of heavy cream, and then you fill the cup with boiling water, and you have keto hot chocolate, which is extremely filling and will stay with you. So if I have
not Swiss Miss.
That's right.
Cocoa powder.
Yeah. So you can make your own. You can just half and half do keto sugar with, organic cocoa, and make your own mix. And instead of Swiss Miss, which has all kinds of, all kinds of stuff in it. So anyway, I'm just learning some tricks that have helped, but I'm doing the OMAD right now because I've trained myself kind of to get to that place. So.
Well, man, I feel like we need 2 episodes on this. We didn't really plan that.
Oh.
Well, people can get more information by Fast Forward into Freedom. That's the book. We'll put a link to that. Where can they get that?
So it just got published, and it will be on Amazon. It was supposed to be on Amazon by the end of December, which they had told me it will be. So I'm hoping that's true.
Yes. So it should be available now. It should be
Yeah, it'll
available. When
be
you're
available.
watching this, it should be available.
Yes. So by mid-January for sure, it will be.
So, and then inside your book, what will the reader kind of find?
Okay, that's a good point. So what I wanted to do was make sure that they were, first of all, ready for this, ready to go into this, because I think that's what people get sabotaged by their own lies and just stuff, and they get triggered, and then they want to quit.
Yep.
So they end up feeling like a failure, So I want to help people to overcome that going into it. Mm-hmm. So to do a little bit of pre-work on it, I think is really key to prepare yourself, and if it takes you 2 weeks or 3 weeks to do this work, let that happen, because I believe your success rates can be way higher if you're able to really do that pre-work with yourself and with God. So my pre-work was I had to get rid of my lies of ungodly beliefs that first of all I couldn't fast. Secondly, that it was very unhealthy. Thirdly, that it was I have them all listed out. I think I have 5 lies in my book that I personally had to kind of give people an example of that. But it's about going before God and asking Him, why is the idea of fasting so repulsive? Why does it sound impossible? Why does it sound so difficult when the Word of God says it's really God's way of healing, And so find out what that is for you, because I lead people through that in the book. I really give them process, ways that they can work with God and write and journal and hear God and ask the question, because I believe it's about just bringing the Lord into this and saying, okay, I don't really want to do this, and I'm sensing that it would be good. So why do I believe this? Why is this hard? What's going on? And let Him tell you. Just listen. Just say, okay, I'm listening. I want to hear, and find out what that is. So do that first. I believe it's also doing a alignment with your spirit, having your spirit man be in the first place position. So calling your spirit man into alignment with the Holy Spirit and putting your spirit in that preeminent place over your soul and over your body, because our soul is what can sabotage us. Our bodies too, though, can. Sometimes our bodies will the hunger and our bodies will pull on us and say, you need to do this now. You need to go have this now, But it's kind of your soul and body working together against you. So it's getting your spirit in that first place position over your soul and over your body. And that's a spirit alignment prayer, which I really have that as one of the pre-work things to do too. And then I have a prayer that's called body work. So it's like really, this sounds a little bit out there, but it's amazing. So it's actually forgiving your body for any ways that you felt like it wasn't really working with you. It wasn't cooperating. It was kind of
right.
Yeah. So just forgiving your body and then reconciling with your body. So I have a way and a process to do that. So I just call it body work.
Yeah.
So that was another big key for me. And so I was kind of mad that it took me so long to get to where, I still had all these physical issues, and I had all this extra weight and everything, and I had felt like I had done a lot of things right. And so I had to reconcile that.
Yeah. Wow.
So when you started fasting, did you have results immediately, or did it take a while?
Yeah, I would say it took about 5 days for me to see the real results of my body started to heal. I could measurable healing happen. My feet, I started getting my feet back to normal. I got rid of all the pain, and my eye would flare up constantly. I just was able to measure a lot of things that were really changing fast. And then my weight was starting to go down. I was starting to lose. I was starting to know that I was losing weight, and I could just, all of it was all very measurable, and it was happening pretty fast. So it took about, I think the first month was a 7-pound weight loss, I would say, first month.
Wow.
But it was because I believe I did the work up front.
Yeah.
And I really didn't just blast into it going, well, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to, be able to continue, and it's all going to work.
And what I hear you saying is that when you came into those times where you were tempted and your flesh part of you wanted to eat this.
Wanted something sweet and wanted sugar, wanted something.
So then you were leaning on the Holy Spirit to help you move through that.
I would say so. I would say yes, but I had to really get myself aligned first.
Right.
Going into this whole thing was a big alignment thing with the Lord, and really dedicating myself to this, because I knew He was telling me that this was not just for me, that this was for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so I was like, went into it going, I can't just do this for myself, because I haven't been successful in the past with that. So I was like, okay, this is a bigger audience I'm doing it for, and there's so many people that need help, because I had done healing rooms. Not only had I done inner healing ministry, but I did healing rooms for about 7 years. So I saw a lot. I saw a lot of stuff, a lot of issues. And what I started finding with people was they were just so out of alignment with God.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the bigger ones we did, was when we prayed for them, we were doing a lot of prayers for them to get aligned with God first before He could actually heal their body,
Yep.
So I learned a lot of this just on kind of out there on the front lines of doing this with a lot of people that were hurting, needed healing. And I learned some of the concepts that way, but I didn't have this whole thing, because I wasn't recommending fasting to anybody at that time.
Yeah.
Until the Lord, really put this on, said, this is for you. And I want you to do all the research on it, and I want you to start stepping into this, and I'll be with you, and you will be successful at this. And so I believed that, and I went in with that. But I also know that for the first week or so, when I was hungry, I had to offer that as a sacrifice of praise back to Him. And those really, the time when I was just eating at 6 or 7 or something, I was really hungry. I was just saying, Lord, you told me that this was going to be a message, and you're making me the message. And so I'm offering this back to you right now. And I don't want to over spiritualize it, but I feel like that was pretty big for me.
Yeah.
That I just offered it back to Him. And I believe that got me through. So once you get through the first, I would say 4 to 5 days, it's pretty easy. Your body starts going, oh yeah, you've already made up your mind. Okay, I'm going to cooperate with you.
That's awesome.
So it's a retraining, I would say. It's a retraining of your mind, your will, and your emotions, and it's a retraining of your body.
And giving your body the space it needs to do the healing that it needs to do.
I would say that your body absolutely needs time to heal. If you've got issues, it's got to have the time to give all of its energy and resources into that healing. And that's what all the research is showing now, with all the people getting healed of cancer that are doing this, and tumors just totally dissolving, going away. It's because your body sends out just kind of like Pac-Man cells that go out there and just eat all of the disease cells, because it's actually wanting food, but there's a bigger bigger process here, which is more of a God thing. It's His way of healing. Yeah.
So just for a quick second, so what about like 3-day, 7-day, 14-day, 30-day, 40-day fast stuff? How is that related to intermittent fasting?
I personally am not going to be 100% advocating for that just because I haven't done it well.
Sure.
And I believe that there is a place for that, and I believe that it's very biblical. So I absolutely know that it is. I just, I believe that now that I'm trained at this level, that I've kind of worked on this for 2 years, I could probably do it. I could probably fast. In fact, I did fast for 40 days back in 2000 with Jenny, my daughter. And we did, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was real fasting or withholding of completely, because we did organic juicing, which I would, honestly, now I'm finding out that is not a really...
tons of sugar.
A lot of sugar. So your body, if it's diseased and you're giving it sugar, cancer feeds on sugar. Anything that's diseased in your body is going to be more inflamed with it. So I just I can't really
I'm glad that you brought that up. So when people say the word fast, they think of all kinds of things. And a lot of times what they think about is like a juice fast, which I'm not highly trained in any of this either, but I've done enough research to know that a juice, fruit juice, is usually what people are thinking, is just crazy. And I think a lot of people don't realize like a 8-ounce cup of grape juice, like Welch's grape juice, like cheap grape juice, actually has more sugar than 8 ounces of Coca-Cola.
It does.
So fruit juice fast is not a fast at all.
No.
No.
No, it is not. No, it is not. So, right. So I would say stay away from sugar. Even natural sugar. As you're going through this process, if you're looking at losing weight in any way, now some people are doing this they don't necessarily want to lose weight, they just want to get healed. So, but I would just say from all the research I've done now, stay away from juice because it's just highly concentrated, pure sugar going into your system. And the key that I found too, and this is a big point, is in my fasting window to eat as low carb as possible. To lose weight, that's for me. I'm not sure it's for every single person, but I do know that keto, low carb, and intermittent fasting go hand in hand because it kicks you into fat burning easier, and it's an easier process if you've been on keto going into intermittent fasting. Because if you've trained your body to eat a lot of carbs, that's been your diet, then your body's basically burning glucose, and that's how it's getting its fuel. So it doesn't want to switch over to fat burning, and you will have more of a fight with your body. Your body's going to give you a bunch of really severe signals. You're going to probably get shaky. You're going to feel horrible. It's like coming off of drugs, actually. So if you can already jumpstart yourself a little bit, if going into this to start on keto ahead as part of your pre-work, just start trying it, start stepping in a little bit. It'll be way easier for you.
All right, so let's see if we can summarize this. So first of all, we're absolutely not giving any medical advice here. So what Jan has said probably 24 times is you need to do a lot of research. And then I would say for a lot of this stuff, it's important, especially if you've got medical conditions that you're trying to deal with, to find a physician that will work with you. So you want to work with your physician. If the physician is like, nope, not interested in that stuff doesn't work, then that's probably an indication to find a new physician, not to go without a physician necessarily, right? So do your research. Go ahead.
Absolutely, highly recommend finding a really good, I like naturopaths that could go back both ways, and if you need a drug, or if you need a prescription, they can do it. There's some out there. There's some really good
Absolutely.
ones in Salem and where I live that work with you, that totally get this whole thing, that will support you and not be trying to undermine what you're trying to do.
Absolutely.
So, but I do believe if you've got medical conditions, go and get checked out first, for sure.
Absolutely. So work with a physician. The thing I like to tell people, though, is that it's your body. So you want to find a physician that's going to work with you. And if they're not willing to work with you on this stuff, then you probably find a new physician, not no physician. So do your research. If you've got medical conditions that you're working with on this, then you need to find a physician that you can work with. And then pay attention to what your body's doing. And what I'm hearing from you too is that this is like a different way of approaching. It's a biblical way of approaching food and diet, and it is something that you have experience with. You have tried. I think what you said is, I've tried everything. So you've tried everything, right?
Everything, literally.
So this is a different way of thinking, and I think that's super important. I love the fact that you're not just talking about this, you have actually experienced it, you are remaining healthy in it, and you have documented it through the book. So I would just highly encourage you guys to get the book. It's called Fast Forward into Freedom by Jan Schaffner. There's also the other two books that have nothing to do with fasting, but definitely still have to do with this whole mind, body, soul understanding and kind of God's design for it. So I absolutely love that. Anything else that you'd like to say as we kind of wrap this thing up?
I just have seen so many miracles lately that I'm just excited. I've seen people start this and be successful where they never have before. I have seen, I've just had so many ways that the Lord's showing me I'm on the right track. Even with some of the ministry I did this summer, which was just inner healing ministry, I've got some amazing feedback just recently of some high level things that are happening that are way bigger than just one person. So I'm excited about what God's doing. And I know if he's doing this in me, he's doing it in so many people. And he's wanting to just partner with people and just have that really close, intimate relationship where you can become everything he's called you to be, And so I'm just never going to stop saying that because I believe it so strongly that it's there for you. Yeah. And so it's just a decision and a choice and a, hearing God too. I just really press in to hear God. What is he saying to you? Yeah. And then whatever that is, just do that. Yeah, that is so good. Jan, thank you again. Thank you so much for spending time on this. Again, I'll put the links to the other two episodes, so you want to check those out. They were also amazing podcasts with Jan, talking about our other books as well. So you definitely want to look into that. Again, the book is called Fast Forward into Freedom. You should be able to get that on Amazon.com when this is released. And we just appreciate hearing from you as well. So make sure you like and subscribe this podcast. If you want to learn more about Jan Schaffner, we've got links for her stuff there as well. If you want to support this ministry, go to eaglemountain.global and click the little support button, and you can help support what we're doing here on this particular show, Together We Build, as well as everything else we do at Eagle Mountain. You definitely want to be a part of that. We appreciate you guys. Want to hear from you. Let us know what you think about this podcast, and we will see you guys on the next one. Thanks.